Okay, so for this one, we're gonna be using our standard neckline. So the first thing we need to do is actually measure our neckline to figure out how long this band or this neckline is gonna be. So my front one is 2 1/16. Plus my back. Which is 1 1/4. So all together, that's 3 5/16. Double that, we've got 6 10/16, which goes down to 5/8. Is that correct? Yep. Okay, so 6, what did I say? 6 5/8? Is the total of our neckline. So basically you're just adding up what is that full circumference of your neckline gonna be. Okay, and then we're gonna make a rectangle that long. Okay, so 6 5/8 right there. And then as far as the width of your neckband, this can vary depending on style that you want. You can have thicker neckbands, like I'm looking at your sweatshirt has probably like a full inch is what it looks like. But on a t-shirt, you usually see something closer to like 5/8 inch or 3/4 inch. So whatever that is, we've got t-shirts around here, you're gonna double. So for this one, we're just gonna go with the standard 3/4 inch. So we're doubling that. So the width of our band is gonna be 1 1/2. And then we need to add an extra 1/8 of an inch that is for the fold. Because when you fold it, knits are typically a little bit thicker. When you fold it, it's gonna take up some space on that fold. So we're gonna add just an 1/8 of an inch for that fold. So 1 1/2 plus that extra 1/8. So double the final width that you want it to be plus an 1/8. Okay, and then we have to account for the stretch of the fabric that we're making that band out of. So in this case, we're gonna pretend like we're doing it out of a rib knit. And this one is in your book. It's on page 139 is where the rib band starts. And they've got a really good little chart, I guess we'll call it, is on page 142 that tells you how much you're reducing it depending on the stretch of your fabric. So last time we talked about like minimal, moderate, very stretchy, super stretchy, and how much you reduce it for each of those. So we're gonna do super stretchy and rib as the same. And so for that one, it says to reduce it by 1/4 of the length. So you're gonna take that total length, 6 5/8. I'm gonna need somebody's calculator since I'm using my phone to record. Thank you. So we're gonna do 5 divided 8 so I can get the decimal, plus 6. So 6 5/8 is the total length. And then I'm gonna divide it by 4. And that's how much I'm reducing it because we're taking off 1/4 of that total length. So that's minus 1.65. So that's just shy of 5 inches. So I'm gonna, it's 4.97. So I'm gonna go to that 5 inch mark and just like a hair shy of that, I'm going to create my final band length. And again, all these measurements are in that half scale. So these are already marked in half. We would be measuring and doing this in full scale for the full neckline if we needed to. Okay, so that gives us our final length of our band if this was a ribbed fabric or a super stretchy fabric. And then we need to add seam allowances after that. So again, this one, it's gonna get fully serged on. So this will be 1/4 inch all the way around for standard seam allowances. Okay. And then thinking about grain line, which way we want our grain line to go. We want the majority of our stretch to be in the length of this band so that it will stretch out and stretch to that full neckline measurement. So we want the most stretch to be going in that crosswise direction. For majority of knits that we're going to be using for this type of pattern, you have the majority of your stretch going in crosswise direction already. So we want to keep that grain line the same. So we're going to do a grain line up and down that short side so that that crosswise stretch is going across the length. Okay. The only exception to that is if you're using a warp knit where the majority of your stretch is in that vertical direction. And that's a lot more rare for this particular type of like neckband. But it does happen. And in that case, you would just switch your grain line to the opposite direction so that the majority of the stretch is going across the width. Okay, and it should be a directional, grain line. So you have that cap at the bottom, and that reminds you to cut everything facing the same direction. Okay, and then we would just label that. That's our ribbed neckband. Okay, and so that's what you'll turn in. You'll cut it out and turn that in for your notebook. Okay, any questions about this particular pattern? No. Okay, let me turn this